Okay, Nick, big weekend at Wembley. FA Cup semi-final time. We've got Man City against Chelsea, Coventry City, second tier Coventry City against Manchester United. My question to you is, who needs the FA Cup trophy more? Is it Chelsea or Man United? I think, Man City are the clear favourites, Coventry clear underdogs. But in terms of Chelsea under Mauricio Pochettino and United under Erik ten Hag, it seems like these two teams are really desperate to win this trophy. So right out the bat, who needs this more?
Well, I'll even go further than a club. It's Erik ten Hag.
Yeah.
To have but to have significant hope of keeping his job. I just think the Chelsea project is at a point right now it's clearly seems pointed up for as young as they've been. There won't be a firing of Pochettino. I think in the summer he's going to get the chance to sign a couple of veteran guys to implement his plan. And I would have told you even a week ago that because the fastest route back to Europe for Chelsea would be winning the FA Cup, would be that. But right now, it looks like they may catch Man United. So I think it's Manchester United, and 75% of that is Erik ten Hag. He's also he's seeing Jadon Sancho playing regular minutes on a team that's going to the Champions League semifinal. He's not getting anything out of Marcus Rashford. He's being held afloat by Bruno Fernandes. And Manchester United, if they want to keep that mystique of that they still possess despite everything that's happened post Sir Alex Ferguson, put a trophy in the case. Remind people that you do that from time to time.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for them to do that, though, I think, against Coventry, because let's look at their recent form. 1 win in 7 in the Premier League for Manchester United, and particularly some woeful displays against, I'm not calling them smaller clubs, just they are smaller than the big boys, against Bournemouth and Brentford away recently. United were woeful, somehow managed to rescue draws from those games when they had no right doing that. And it just feels like they could lose to Coventry at the weekend, a Coventry side who are not going to come up barring a miracle late run in the playoffs. They've lost their last 2 in the championship, so they're going to be a championship team next season, but they have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. And they're much like Brentford, much like Bournemouth, kind of a horrible physical team, and in the nicest way possible, saying that. And I don't think United will really enjoy this game this weekend against Coventry City. So could you see an upset here?
I mean, yes, of course I could see an upset here. But the thing that I think wins out in these situations is, do your classiest players, do your best players show up? And between Bruno Fernandes, as bad as Garnacho has been sometimes in his own end and where he gives away the ball, he goes every game very, very hard. Højlund is overdue, by the way, for a performance. He'll look at this as a chance to do something. And honestly, this is a sort of game that I expect somebody like Casemiro or Scott McTominay to just stamp their authority on it. So, of course, there's a chance. And Man United have shown us time and again that they're willing to give the other team a chance. But I don't think they overlook this stage. The way that the season has gone for them, the way that their other tournaments have gone for them, they probably really relish this opportunity, knowing that they could probably put in a solid 60 minutes and walk away knowing that they're playing for a trophy. So I do think there's quality-wise, inconsistency-wise, a chance for an upset, but I really expect United to show up.
I don't know. Coventry City, they beat Wolves in the quarterfinals, who have been really good in the Premier League. And then Haji Wright and Ellis Sims up top against Harry Maguire struggling to be fit. There's not many other defensive options back there for United. I really think those two could have a big day, Wright and Sims, and just make it really uncomfortable for Manchester United. And again, don't rule out the factor that they have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. Coventry City, just the second time they've reached the FA Cup semi-final in their history, and what a job Mark Robins has done there over the years. And famous story that he kept Sir Alex Ferguson in a job when he scored in the FA Cup all those years ago. So he's played a big part in Man United's history in a good way. Could play another role this weekend if he leads Coventry City in the opposite side of the spectrum to an upset win at Wembley. When we talk about Chelsea, it would be an upset, obviously, if they beat Manchester City. But they've drawn against them home and away in the Premier League this season, and they're on a good run in the Premier League in recent games. A long unbeaten run, won 6-0 against Everton. Obviously, that was just their standout performance of the season. They've been threatening to do that, I think, Nick, for a lot of this season with the chances they're creating. Do you think it's a bit of a turning point for Pochettino? Penalty kick squabbles aside, it seems like they found the right balance in midfield and attack. And yes, a lot of injuries have led to that, but now they have quite a settled unit, Chelsea.
It is a huge opportunity for them. Not only, I mean, with City coming off of going out of the Champions League and the uncertainty there, also what City may be planning, what City may be thinking. We've heard Rodri talk about how he was tired. We've heard players, or we know that players have ran their shorts out and socks off for them. And there's a game coming up. I believe they're one of the first. I think I have a Thursday game or a Wednesday. Is it Thursday against Brighton after that? So there's a lot for them to contend with. And you look at Chelsea. They've been playing a lot better. They'll have a little bit of juice here. And this is where I do think Pochettino could use a big win, because they had a great chance handed to them in the League Cup final against a Liverpool team that was playing kids and B players for a lot of it. And you just kept waiting for Chelsea to do something. It was like the old poke it with a stick situation. And they didn't. So I think this is a terrific opportunity for a guy who's done well in tournaments in the past to show up, to take a team that is wounded at Wembley and keep building those vibes.
Yeah, and he's done well against Guardiola in the past. You know, when he was Tottenham manager, would always seem to frustrate them and annoy them. And I feel like Chelsea can do that against Man City. I'm predicting Chelsea to beat Man City this weekend. I just think it's right time to play Man City for Chelsea after that Real Madrid game. Just less than 72 hours to recover and prepare for that one for Man City. And I think Man United are going to get past Coventry, but there'll be a scare there for sure for United. So if it is Chelsea, Man United in the final, who are you backing?
Chelsea.
Chelsea? Do you think Chelsea is going to win the FA Cup?
No, because I think Man City's going to win this weekend. Look, I think that the Champions League exit, I take this on a sidebar for a second, Joe, I think the Champions League exit for City has basically confirmed 7 straight wins for them. I just think this is a team that is not going to have to worry about, they'll rotate, but they won't have to worry about rotating for the sake of rotation. This is just laser focused to run in. All right, we're in first place. No one's done this before. So the only danger here for me is if City completely overlook this game because they're looking at the Premier League. And I kind of trust them to get away. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think Chelsea's going to play extremely physical, but there's still a lot of youth there at such a big stage. Those guys, a lot of them, first time at Wembley, first time feeling that experience. So, but if it is Chelsea and Man United in the final, I will pick Chelsea without reservation.
Yeah, I think you're right. Man City are obviously the clear favourites to win it all and get a double, which, crashing out of the Champions League the way they did, unlucky against Real Madrid, dominating that. Still not a bad season, is it, if they win the double overall? So yeah, exactly. We'll still wait and see, because Man United and Chelsea, it's clearly for those two guys just really important to win this trophy. And like you mentioned, the Europa League battle as well, how close it is in the Premier League. They need this trophy to secure a Europa League group stage spot for next season as well. So that would be huge for Chelsea, I think, in their progression to at least get that. For most of the season, it looked like they weren't getting anywhere near Europe. Man United, I'm not sure how they would feel about the Europa League, but obviously that's what they're going to have to aim for now, because Champions League is well out of their reach, given their recent.
Joe, if they lose this weekend, maybe just maybe they should be worried about getting into Europe at all. Yeah. Because if they can't take care of Coventry City with these stakes for their manager, they could lose to anybody. They could lose to a lot of the run. You mentioned it earlier. I just don't expect it to continue against Coventry City. They've been bad. And even when they're getting draws and wins, it's not like, oh yeah, well, that's the performance they wanted. No, it's been like, Bruno did something magical, or Garnacho did something magical, and they overcame their mistakes. It's never, that's the performance they needed. Clean sheet and a comfortable 2-0. Nothing's been comfortable at Old Trafford.
All right, so here's the final question to you. Obviously, we don't want anyone to lose their job, but Erik ten Hag, there's a lot of pressure on him right now. And it seems even if they win the FA Cup, he's probably going to move on this summer with the new ownership, Ineos overhauling the football side of things at Old Trafford. If they lose this weekend, is it probably just better to say, cheers, Erik, let's move on and start rebuilding for next season?
Well, I mean, I just kind of wonder, I think their staff, there are some people there who we've seen them do this with Michael Carrick, right? Maybe Darren Fletcher, I believe, is like first team coach or something. I don't think they're going to have Steve McLaren do it. I just don't know if there's somebody there that they feel comfortable saying, take it the rest of the way. And there's probably still enough respect for him as who he is in the game that maybe they'll want other managers, knowing the mess they're coming out of, to not look at it like, wow, they really hung him out to dry there. He loses one big game, and they throw him under the bus. So I wonder if, just for the sake of how potential candidates might view the situation, if they don't maybe they could announce that he's leaving and he sees out the string. But do you know what I mean there? Like, I think that could matter with a new leadership group.
It feels very similar to the Louis van Gaal situation and how that ended when he won the FA Cup against Crystal Palace, had it right there. I remember being in the press conference room at Wembley, and then someone was telling him, oh, yeah, by the way, Mourinho is going to come in and replace you. And let's just say Van Gaal did not take that kindly, and then he was out a few days later. So hey, maybe history will repeat itself with a Dutch twist there for Man United in the FA Cup at Wembley. So it's going to be fun to see these two semi-finals, two very different semi-finals. We'll have you covered over on Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com for Man City against Chelsea and Coventry City against Manchester United. Let's see what the magic of the FA Cup conjures up this weekend. Nick, thanks so much for joining me. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll speak to you all very soon.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock. And be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you there.